competition before, where it was a great effort on our part. Anytime you can take a player the caliber of Josh Scott and hold him to 11 points in a game and score 70, you think you're in a pretty good position to win a game. But they were a team that came on the road and made their free throws, 22-26, and we're a team at home that missed out, very similar to the Washington game, where if you just make the free throws, the game is different because you have more control of it coming down the stretch. And I look at that number 16 for 27, and I don't know how many of those were front ends of one-on-one, so that's probably even a bigger number that's sitting there. Those guys feel terrible. We'll just rattle them up, and I'm real proud of them the way they bounced back from the Utah game. I thought they gave a tremendous effort, and obviously, again, a big reason for that. Again, I just think this crowd continues to grow. The energy in the building, how loud it was. It was just a great atmosphere for us to play in. It's unfortunate that we did not close out the game for these people because it was a good college basketball and it was right there for us to close it out, and we didn't do it.
Looked like initially you thought a smaller lineup would work against the Buffaloes, the one with the smaller starting lineup, but then Connor had so much success.
Yeah. It had nothing to do with size. It had to do with communication. I went with the veteran lineup to start the game because I felt like our starts were not good. We lost 5 out of 6. You need to go with a different energy, different spirit, a different look. And I went with the veteran guys that really are loud on defense. Offense has not been our problem. It's been defense. And I thought they got us off to a tremendous start. Nye and Brett, the communication on the floor was outstanding the first 3 minutes or so. Colorado settled down, but there were times, again, playing the zone that we were, again, a really good defensive team tonight, not having Val just because of the communication that those veteran guys bring to the fore. For whatever reason, I've got 3 or 4 guys that they're great in the hotel room, but when we get to the floor, they don't talk. They don't talk loud enough. And I've said that before about young people in this texting generation. For whatever reason, I've got to get them to communicate more, especially in basketball games. So Brett and I were put in there because of their energy and their ability to communicate on defense. And hopefully the guys sitting on the bench got a clinic on that. That's why we went smaller.
Ernie, what was the issue then when they kind of stretched it out on you early and built the lead?
I think the issue was us subbing. We had to sub to get some guys that were fatigued and get guys in and out of the game. Junior Longer's got in foul trouble. We needed him on the floor, vocal, defense, all of those things. And they stretched the lead out on us. We got back into the game, though, with the zone. The zone was able to reel them back in, got some stops, gave us some runouts, and we were able to get back in the game that way. And really, I kind of tracked them down throughout the game, and we're in pretty good shape again, coming down the stretch of the game, with the game tied with the ball and those types of things. But the free throw shooting failed us again, and it cost us a game. We should be sitting there maybe 3 and 4 right now and in great shape going on the road. Unfortunately, we've let 2 of them get away just by not converting at the free throw line.
Considering Ike's role on the team and the game he was having, do you want him taking that shot even if the play doesn't work as designed, or did he have another option?
He could have drove the ball. I mean, we talked about shooting 3 and all that, and again, players have to make plays. They're going to understand. He probably could have drove Josh Scott, get another quick 2, foul again, put them in a situation again where they got to stop us coming down the floor and everything else.
Coach, Ike struggled out against Utah on Thursday. Couldn't get a lane to drive through. Today kept driving. Just talk about his performance tonight.
It wasn't Ike. That was us. We ran offense that had that floor too congested for them, so that was not the players. And we talked about that as a staff and went back to doing some things that the way we normally do them, and it completely opened up the game for Ike again, opened the game up for Josh, opened the lane up for Q, opened the game up for Connor. That was us, maybe even doing a little bit too much coaching with this group that we need to learn as well too, with these guys, that let them have more freedom to play. And I thought it was a big adjustment on our part, and the guys responded well to it.
Your front court depth was tested when Connor picked up the quick fouls early in the second half, but it seemed like Brett and Q in particular kind of chipped in with the rebounding in ways that maybe he hasn't in the past.
We needed Brett and Q to be tougher. We talked about it after the Utah game of being tougher, and they did a pretty good job of rebounding the ball. There were some rotations down there because with that team, you've got to front the post to keep the ball out of Scott's hands. And I thought there were some times with fatigue factor, we conceded the post. And every time you conceded the post, they made us pay. But when we fronted the post and we dug in there and got physical on rebounds, which is a good indication of, again, coming from a game where we played soft, everybody thought, team as well on Thursday, to bounce back and play a physical game, that's a good sign. And a lot of that had to do with the grittiness of those veteran players again stepping up.
you might have just answered my question, but, you know, you mentioned wanting to improve on defense, and then you played great tonight. Was it just that of being more physical, or what was the big difference?
Well, two things. Going back to your veteran players, and they set the tone with the communication. What we broke down against Utah, and we've broken down in a lot of our games, is the lack of communication on the floor. Now, that's hard for a guy like Charles coming into a program to take the reins, take control, be vocal, tell everybody what to do when he's on an island figuring out what he's supposed to do. And it's even difficult sometimes for Q, who doesn't speak well on the floor. He doesn't communicate loud enough. But Brett is a great communicator on the floor, as well as Junior Longris, and as well as Nye Reddick. And we figured that out in practice the last few days, and we're going to switch up the lineup, get different energy, different spirit, and sure enough, they took us to another level with their energy on the defensive end of the floor. Offense has not been our problem. It's been getting stops, and we had an opportunity a few times in that game to get a string of 4 stops in a row, and we're able to reel them back in coming down the stretch with their defense.
Ernie, it seems that you really was preaching to play tougher on defense after the last game, and yet the zone is the kind of what it seems that might be counterintuitive a little bit.
Well, it's not, because don't understand that when I say toughness, toughness is not a physical thing all the time where you got to physically manhandle someone, push up. Toughness becomes a mental thing, to know your job and then have the physical capability to do your job. So when you get fatigued, you don't cave in mentally and you don't cave in physically. You know your job, do your job. So that was my thing. I felt like on Thursday, we were mentally out of the game and physically out of the game. Today, we were mentally into the game and physically. And we didn't manhandle Colorado. We just did our assignments. When it's time to block out, we blocked out. When it's time to run, we ran. When it's time to score inside, we scored inside. When it's time to front the post, we fronted the post. So we did what we're supposed to do, but we did it in a mental toughness as well as a physical toughness to not break down as much with this young team.
One more thing. You mentioned you could be 3 and 4 at this point without the free throw issues. You feel you're really missing opportunities here in terms of growth and?
Well, no, not in terms of growth. If you're missing opportunities, yes. But I've told myself in taking this job from last year and where we're going, if you look at what we're doing here as a book, okay, we're in chapter 2. We got a few more chapters left in this book. So I always say get to the end of the book, and then you can look back and say, boy, in chapter 2, they were missing out games on free throws. Now they're closing out games and winning the championship. That's the key. I've been down this road before. We'll just keep pushing them, keep coaching them.
Thank you.
Guys.